just begin the presentation. You know, John, history has proven that most great decision makers believe that a good decision was only as good as the facts. Now, what did I just compare him to? A good decision maker. Here he's procrastinating, but I compare him to a great decision maker. Wonderful first paragraph. Then you would say, and I like this next sentence to relieve any pressure. Warmly say, John, the last thing that I would want to do is to influence you to make an unwise decision. However, if it proves to be a good decision, you would want to make it, wouldn't you? Now, if you'll learn it just like that, he will agree. In fact, some of them will jump right in with you. Oh, yes, Tom, I'm sure after we analyze all this, we'll probably call you the next 2 or 3 days. Well, then warmly say, John, do you mind if I help you? Let's draw a line down the middle of this legal pad. And on the left side, we'll list all the reasons favoring the right decision today. Then over here, list the reasons against the decision. When we're through, we'll count up the columns and at that point make the right decision. Let's see. Now you begin listing the reasons they should go ahead. Now how many of you can give me a reason they should go ahead? Let me hear some. Come on. Increased profits. What else?
Increased sales, profits.
More clients can come in and be excited and build a better referral base.
Cost productive.
Cost productive. Any other ideas? More options to do business. Okay. Saving of time. Okay. Anything else?
Credibility.
Credibility. When you have the signs on the front, I really believe it's almost a stamp that says we are going to be here for a while. Especially a new business starting up, there's a lot of people somewhat leery. That's why when you can say, yes, we've been fortunate to be approved by Visa and MasterCard and American Express and Diners Club because they all find that we're going to do a great job serving clients. That adds to their credibility, you see. Now your goal, and you that are new, you want to have 6 reasons on the ends of your fingers that you can quickly list. And you just fire the 6 down. Now I want you to just put checks. Do not write the reasons. On the left-hand side, you'd put a check. And another one, another one, another one, another one, another one. You go for a total of 6 on the left side. Now, when you've got your 6 checks, that's all you'll need. That is the best number. If you only get 4, fine, you'll still win, but go for 6. Now, when you've got your 6, then you're going to smile and say, now, John, let's see the facts you feel are against the decision. Now, don't help on this side. You're the left side. Don't let him do the right side. He might give you 2. Put them down. Then when you're through, you simply say, well, let's see what we've got. And you count them. On the left side, the reasons we should go ahead, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. On the right-hand side, gosh, we only have 2 against. So the answer is rather obvious, isn't it, John? And then you would say, and you know, by the way, this decision-making device was created by the great Ben Franklin. And we've all considered him one of our wisest men, haven't we? Now, you may notice, you that are veterans and been around for years, it was originally taught that we began telling about Ben Franklin. I have put his endorsement at the end so that anyone who's heard the basic Ben Franklin term won't put up defenses. Practice it and learn it the way I just shared it with you. It's there in your book. Make this a tool that you make yours, all right? Now, the next technique we title the 2-party indecision close. What is that? Well, it's when 2 partners, husband, wife, or 2 partners in the business, they disagree on going ahead with the service. It's almost as if they're at an impasse. And here are the words I really want you to learn and say. You smile across the counter. John and Mary, when two people are required to make one decision, it's often impossible to find one solution that satisfies both of them. So life becomes a matter of compromise. Now, the measurement of each decision is through the use of this question: does it satisfy most of the wants of each parties? Now, I'm sure you'll agree that what we at Card Service are offering does meet that criteria. Don't you agree? Now, try that. Because see, what they'll say is, suddenly Mary might say, well, you're right, there's more positives. And John now feels her going ahead, saying, of course, Mary, we should do this. That's a wonderful way to get two people to agree. You can't make everyone happy. Let's look at the positives for going ahead, all right? The next wonderful strategy is called the business productivity close. These are wonderful words. This one I'd love to have every one of you just make a part of your strategy. It goes like this. Ready? What I'm offering, Mary, is not just a machine and service. It's a convenience to your clients and a boost in employee morale. Haven't you noticed how anything new increases job interest and excitement? Especially something that will simplify the transactions at the counter. And you know, excitement increases morale, and then morale increases profitability. John, Mary, what is an increase in profitability worth to your business? Oh, you will love that one. I so hope you'll learn that one. And now I'm going to cover one of the most important things you will ever learn in this program. And by the way, if you master the next 2.5 to 3 minutes, you will be in the top 1/10 of 1% of all of the salespeople in this country. And that is a proven strategy to handle the stall of I want to think it over. How many of you ever heard it? How many of you know we're always going to hear it? So if we know we're going to hear it, we as a pro must know how to handle it to close the transaction. Right or wrong? So let's really pay attention now. Please realize that the stall of I want to think it over will come to you in different packaging. Meaning it might not just be verbatim, I want to think it over. It can be things like, we don't jump into things like this. We always read everything and we'll call you next week. It could be, I can't do anything until we have a meeting to talk this over. See, what I want you to do as a pro with Card Service International, I want you to say to yourself, when I hear anything that's putting me off, I'm going to label it as a stall. Now, when I do this, say stall. I'm going to label it as a stall. I want to think it over as a stall. We're going to sleep on it. We'll get back to you as a stall. So now we've labeled it. Now, here's the reason that most people in our business are wiped out by this stall. You see, there's nothing to do with it. Now, when I do this, say ghost. That stall is almost like a ghost. See, it's a stall. And every consumer in the world has learned the easiest and nicest way to get rid of a person in our business is to warmly, nicely say we want to think it over. And over 95% of the people in this business accept that and they leave hoping they will call you back. We cannot do that at Card Service International. We must commit that when we hear, I want to think it over, we accept it as a stall. We know it's a ghost. But we're going to learn phraseology to make that ghost turn into a concrete, final area of concern that we will then overcome and close. Now, the wording is critical. And if I had any of the techniques I've taught you, that I had the right, if Chuck allowed me, to lock you up in a room and say you will not come out until you can sit at a table with me and a very natural conversational tone deliver verbatim this presentation, I would love to do that. I can't. I'm just trying to share with you the amount of money this is worth to you. See, a lot of them really don't mean it when they say it. They're saying that because they're busy, their mind is thinking, I don't know if I should do this. They aren't going to, some of them, give it any time. And they can cool off if you leave, your presentation is over. So I want you to make a commitment to learning this phraseology. Now here we are, come with me now. Here we are, we've done everything. And sure enough, old John says, okay, Tom, this is impressive and I think I want to think it over. You always start by saying these two words, that's fine, and his name. That's fine, John. And obviously, you wouldn't take your time thinking this decision over unless you were seriously interested, would you? Now you trust Tom. You deliver it just like that with a lot of warmth. Because you've done a good job, he will jump right in and agree. Oh, no, we are very interested. I'll tell you something else that can happen. If you have two decision makers, partners, husband-wife partners, that one sentence can get the one that wants to go ahead to jump in and help you close the other one. So that first sentence is critical. After you deliver that, you then would say, I mean, John, after all the time we spent working towards this decision, I'm sure you're not telling me that to get rid of me. Now, gang, don't be afraid to say that. If you've done your job, he'll go, no, you've been very good. I mean, you came out here, you spent time. Then you warmly say, so then may I assume you'll give it very careful consideration. Now make sure you get that head nodding when you say you'll give it very careful consideration. Believe me, he'll right now say, oh yes, we will, oh yes. Then I want you to wrinkle that face up a little bit because you're curious now. And you say, John, just to clarify my thinking, what is it about our services that you want to think over? Is it the quality of the service I'll render? Now there's a very important point here. As you look down at the script in your workbook, you'll see a little parentheses right next to that first word over. You cannot pause when you get to the first word over. You cannot do this. Just to clarify my thinking, John, what is it about our services you feel you want to think over? You cannot pause there. If you pause with that over, many of them will jump in and say, well, it's just everything. So I want you to slur through that first is it. Now let's do that again. Go back to just to clarify my thinking, okay? So let's watch it. Ready? So John, just to clarify my thinking, what is it about my services that you want to think over? Is it the quality of the service I'll render? Well, if you've done a good job, what will he say to that question? No, which is an emotional what? Yes. Then say the next thing. Is it the capability of the equipment? No. Is it something maybe I've forgotten to cover? No. Now here's the one that I want you to warmly hold out. Seriously, John, please, level with me. Could your hesitation in any way be the financial considerations? Now, when you say the words financial considerations, if he looks a little cloudy at you, a little dazed, like he doesn't know what you're talking about, and that can happen. See, a lot of people that you meet in a small business may not know what the term financial considerations is. So if he looks a little confused, just smile and say, in other words, is in any way the money a challenge for us here? Hoping he will say what? Yes, you know, Tom, it's just a little more than we thought we should really invest. I think that's it, isn't it, Mary? It's just a little too much money? I can appreciate that, John. In fact, level with me about how much too much do you feel we're talking about here? Well, I would say probably, I don't know, maybe $15 a month. So our real challenge is not that you want to use Card Service International services, we've decided that's what we want to do. We're right now just talking about one thing.